Never try to be better than someone else. Always learn from others. And never cease trying to be the best you could be. That's under your control.
Anybody can be a coach, and a good coach can coach anything.
This kid's gonna be the best kid in the world. This kid's gonna be somebody better than anybody ever knew.
The mindset of a coach can belong to anyone.
And when you get to the point where all you want to do is be successful, as bad as you want to breathe, then you'll be successful. Pain is temporary.
They ask me why I teach, and I reply, where could I find such splendid company?
Hey guys, and welcome to the 12th episode of the Coaching Mindset Podcast. We're now also on YouTube, so thank you for all the people viewing us, and all of you listening to us. You are very welcome. I'm Liam O'Neill, and this is...
I'm Gary, and today I'm actually going to share a little bit of a story of me living with depression. So it's a big topic out there, and I think we're just ready to share my story on it.
Yeah, we were talking just before we started that you think now is, because it's so big in media and it's just everywhere at the minute, so now it's time for you to sort of show that it can affect everyone, I think was what we were trying to get across, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I think I suppose, been living with depression for about, it was the last 3 years or so, really. It's affected a lot with me. It's affected between my work, relationships, family, sport, everything that I loved and love to do. So, but I think the reason I kind of want to share my story, get this across, is the fact that if this helps somebody, anybody, any one person even at all, or a group of people to come forward or be more aware or conscious or anything, like it's not a cry for attention. Yeah. You know, anything like that. That's what we do, and we want to inspire and help people. Yeah. I think this is just another approach.
I think it's good, so people will know, especially from listening to the other podcasts, they'll know you as an entrepreneur and someone that runs a business and has a good idea of what they're doing and has staff and clients and everything. So it's just good to know that you can come out of wherever you were, and you can do basically whatever you want, which is what you're doing now, which we talk about all the time. So I think a good starting point would be just the start. So
to start,
how did you notice, or did someone else notice, or what? How did you know?
I think, well, I was always that bubbly character. I think previously, without me even realizing, I kind of went through an episode years back when I was living up in Korea, and I was just having a few personal issues and everything was going on, but I was just really down. Like, I couldn't concentrate on work. I got really anxious about simple things, about text messages or waiting on stuff, or starting to think about. I was just wasn't me, you know. I think that's when it first, but I didn't really know it back then. And what I did have some really good friends at the time. We just used to just say, right, come on, let's go. We're going for a walk, or he would just say, like, we'll go, and just literally someone to talk to. And eventually I kind of worked through that, and the few issues I was having, they got resolved. But without me looking back at it now, I didn't really know what I had then. So it was another episode that I had was a few years ago, and it was a slow build up of between, you know, work, what I was doing, being in relationships, you know, family. I was putting a lot of pressure on myself, but it slowly built.
Yeah. And
I could just see myself changing, and I didn't like the person I was becoming, but I felt I was powerless to change it. You know, and that was kind of where it all started.
Whenever you say you felt powerless, did you, like, was there a time frame? Like, did it happen? Like, how long did it take for you to notice? Did family and friends notice first, and you were in denial or anything like that, or did it just you catch on one day that you're not doing the things that you didn't love, the football, you didn't love the things that you did love?
Yeah. It was a mixture of both. I think at the start it was a lot of blame. I was blaming other people for how I was feeling. You know, it was because of this and because of that, and then I thought, right, if I fix this, I'll feel better. But it wasn't really working. I think myself, I wasn't taking responsibility for it, and I didn't really admit to how I was feeling. You know, I was, I suppose, this happy-go-lucky guy all the time, you know, out partying and out, I'm not talking out drinking or anything, but even especially if there is no drink involved, I'd be there. I'd be the centre of the party, and
Yeah.
I enjoy the banter. And I think I always had a stigma too, if I'm honest, with people with depression. It's like, they're not depressed, they're just lazy, or
Yeah.
they're just. So then for me to kind of come to terms with it possibly was the first barrier, and it was probably easier for me to blame somebody else.
Whenever you are happy-go-lucky and bubbly too, you're not supposed to have. It's not supposed to happen to someone like that. You're not supposed to get depressed, and it's something I think it's important for the people listening and watching, that just because someone is bubbly doesn't mean like there's an ad that somebody was talking to me about actually the other day in Tai Chi, where the guy's out with his mates, and then whenever they go out, he takes a mask off and hangs it up on a wall or something. I've not seen that, but when he talked about that, he was saying that's what it feels like sometimes with people. But people overlook that because they think, sure, you would have been just known as he's the boy that has the crack and is bubbly, and doesn't, like, people would say stuff like, you don't even need drink to party, and you're going, yeah. But then whenever you're going back, so whenever you're trying to admit to yourself or take responsibility for how you're feeling, would that have played a part as well, the fact that everyone around you thought you were somebody who...
It did, and it took me a while, and I actually went through a lot of processes. First of all, talk to people, which was the first step, going across, and maybe even speaking to people that didn't know how to react as well. Might not have been the best thing, could have been the best thing, but looking in hindsight now, because I am sort of coming out with it. You always live with it. That I think this is a good point actually to say. I was telling you, the way I kind of sum it up is like, if you have a really, really bad injury, obviously because I play in sport a lot, that you break your leg or you have a serious back injury, and you can get it fixed, and it will take time, but you'll always find that wee niggle, so it'll always be there. Now you can always still treat that. So say for example it's a really bad leg break and your ankle gives you bother all the time, or you can still treat that through like daily massage or stretching.
Even just being aware that has happened. So being aware that you have went through a bout of depression, just being aware, then you can catch it earlier. So like, we'll probably lead on to this later, but we've talked about your morning routine. Yeah. So you having a morning routine, if that routine started to change, you would notice very quick. So you would catch yourself falling back quicker.
Yeah, it's those triggers. I'm now finding out what triggers it, and how, not even what triggers it, it's more so how I feel, and I'm starting to feel like that again, so let's get back to things that worked. What is it I do, or slow down, maybe need to take time out, or I write down in my journal, or meditate, following that Headspace app at the minute, and it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
A lot of people have talked about it recently to me.
It is good. So it's working for me, but I think going back to even the start of my story too, is when I did start, and I think my next step was I approached my GP. So I went and spoke to the doctor, and he recommended to go on medication. And to be honest, the medication didn't work for me at the start. It's because I didn't totally buy into it. I still didn't believe I can't be depressed. I was believing, going, right, there's something wrong with me here. I need to maybe fix it. But then still going, or is it somebody else? I was still in that limbo. So the medication, I kind of came off it. I did go and speak to a counsellor and different things as well.
Just to interrupt you, when you said to start speaking to people, initially did you speak to people around you, like family and friends and stuff, before you went to the GP and before you went to people?
I suppose I was speaking to a lot of people that it was affecting. So the people in my life at that time that I was having a major effect on, and again, just trying to be open to them. And actually, my biggest issue I probably didn't do back then was I didn't understand the kind of what they were going through, living with me with depression. It was tough on them, but again, because I was blaming them, I didn't really take a back step and kind of go, well, actually that was actually really tough, and I'm really thankful for what they did, at that time. So that's probably one thing that when you reflect back on that, you're aware of that more. But then going back to it, it just kind of went through that cycle, and I went back to that blame and everything, and just stuff started to get worse. Like, it just, like, between work, I had no interest in work. Like, I was coaching at the schools at the time, and literally my mind just did not stop.
I think it's good to point out at this point too that you were in a job that you used to love at this moment.
Yeah.
Like, so a lot of people think that they get depressed and stuff because the job or the environment they're in is shit and they don't like it, so it just leads down a road. They can't get out of a job they're stuck in. But you were actually in something you originally were passionate about.
I loved it, and I knew, always felt I could do something more, and that's the step I've taken now, becoming self-employed, and that it was a big step. But mentally and physically, I could have done it, but mentally, I couldn't have done it back then. I just wasn't strong enough to do that. I always felt that I was underachieving. I always felt, you could do this, you could do X, you could do Y, you could do Z. You should be a multi-millionaire now at this stage. You need to put more pressure on
Did you put that on, or was there other people putting that on that you should be? Like, no, whenever people are at school and the teacher says you could do anything, you're just lazy, or you're not putting in the effort, so it was self-inflicted.
It was me. It was self-inflicted. It was just like, I thought I have all this potential, and I suppose people saying, "Oh, you're good at this and you're good at that," and I said, "Well, I could actually be doing more." And I think it's the fact that when my business was going really well, I thought, right, I'm doing really well here. But what I didn't realize the fact is that I wasn't leaving time for myself.
Yeah.
For other people to come in, and when people did come into my life, I was finding then I was blaming them maybe for the downfall of my business.
Yeah.
But of course it was going to downfall because I had literally no more time. Like, I was at full capacity and I thought I was happy, when in essence I wasn't, because I was going to burn out eventually. I wasn't working smart. I was working all the hours I could. I was spending whatever little time I had, but if one thing came up during the week, like, I couldn't go to it.
Yeah.
And even at the weekends, like, and at the minute now, it's a bit like that now at the minute, if I'm honest. But I know now where I'm going.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was just like, just keep working, keep working.
It was a never-ending cycle. You had no light at the end of the tunnel because the tunnel didn't end. You just had
keep going.
Constantly going through and through. So if we go back to the GP, so the GP give you the medication and you didn't buy into it, and then you were saying that you went and talked to, was it who else? Was it counsellors, or was it
family and I suppose I was needed at the start. I kind of hit it. I had it even from family and stuff, that I was on medication. Just even probably from talking to family and stuff, and saying, "Oh, you don't need to go on medication. You'll be fine." And I think it wasn't their fault by any stretch, because they were, at the end of the day, they're looking out for me.
Yeah. And
maybe they didn't even realize I said it. But whenever you're in such a low place, the one person can say one word, and it could just like explode in your mind.
Yeah.
And it could just bring you right down. And I felt that I was that vulnerable, that it just, anything one person said that I really cared about, it just knocked me for six, like, and I just took it right in. I didn't even have the mental capacity to process it in my own brain, because it was just in my head was so full that the only way it could go was like, this is just bringing me even lower and lower and lower and lower.
And even when that comes from family, and they always have good intentions, like they're just giving you what information they think. Like, you probably heard it loads of times, you'll be grand, or just sort yourself out, just stop stop being sad. Like, you get that a lot. Like, just stop being sad and be happy instead.
No, you do, and like it by all means, because they want to see, like, your family's not there to put you down at all. Well, I'm very fortunate enough. I have really, really good support from my family, and at times maybe I thought then that's why I blamed them, because we were so close and I nearly felt the extra pressure. But it's just I didn't know how to deal with it at that stage. I felt that I had to be here, I had to do this, and I was putting myself under so much pressure that I felt I couldn't say no to a lot of the times, and I wasn't in a good place. And it's just, when I did say yes and I was doing things, I just felt even low. I remember the stage then too, and whenever I did go out and have a good time with mates or whatever, and I felt happy, I felt really bad for being happy, because it's like, no, you shouldn't be feeling like this. It was weird. It was like, I would laugh and I would like inside and going, but you're not happy. Why it's false? Where actually it's the stuff that I loved. It's even simple things. I remember, like, I never used to sing in the car anymore. It literally was that low that the song came on, and I was like, I used to drive to work an hour and didn't even realize I was landing in work because my head was just on overtime.
You're preoccupied with everything that's going on in your head and what could happen and what isn't happening. Why you don't deserve to do any of the stuff, like you're saying, you didn't deserve to be happy. Then again, that can affect the family life because you're in your mind, you're constantly lying to your family about how you are and how things are going on, and then again gives you more reason to feel bad about yourself because you're going around being full of shit.
Yeah, that's more or less it. And it was, I think the biggest thing was how it's like it was a constant cycle. Even I remember I used to go to bed at night, and that's the one thing I said is like, just wake up tomorrow happy. That's all I want. I want to wake up tomorrow happy. And I remember I used to wake up like I did there, and I'd take a big deep breath. I used to wake up, but I used to take a sharp breath. I'd be like, and as soon as I let go, it's like bang. The mind just went, and that was it. Constant. Like I might have lay in bed to the last minute, press the snooze button, late for work. Timekeeping, not gonna lie, isn't the best at times, alright? But
really?
Yeah. Not the best at times.
I was sitting out in the snow today waiting on you, but sure, don't worry about it, don't you?
That was coming in. But yeah, no, that's another area I need to work on. But at this time it was more so like I was just didn't want to be anywhere. And then I wanted to be somewhere to get away as well too. I wanted to could just take my mind off it for a while and stuff. But yeah, that was probably the darkest time.
No amount of trying is going to get you away from your own mind. Like you said, when you laugh with your mates, even that it could be a moment of laughter and then 10 minutes of you're not even. This isn't why are you doing that. So what you wouldn't be, your timekeeping would be bad because you're not. It's not that you don't care, but you don't feel like you care. You don't want to be there. You don't want to be anywhere really. And I think that's important again as someone like. Who's around people, either a coach or a parent or whatever. If you notice someone that used to be on time or used to go to things and be excited about events and things that they do, or drawing or playing computer games or whatever it is, even if it's your child, and you start to notice they don't do that. They don't care if you say to them, do you want to play the computer? And they're like, no, I don't really care. Do you want to go for a run? They don't want to do it, or they don't. You ask them about work and they just don't really engage with you. There are little alarm bells that should be going off for you to ask, like how, just even as basic as how are you? Yeah,
I think that's the big thing is ask that question, how are you, and listen without any judgment. Just don't talk to people and then have this answer in your head going, okay, I'm going to help you, I'm going to fix this right now. You're probably not.
Yeah.
For somebody who's really suffering, or somebody even isn't in a bad mood, you don't have to be depressed or whatever level you're at. Just if you're in a bad mood, for someone to say, how are you? Literally be that genuine and sit and listen and just say, look, I'm here. Anything you want, pick up the phone or talk. You don't even have to pass any judgment because that's all that person might need. I know I actually felt one of the better things I felt was one of my family members put me onto somebody, one of their friends who had suffered before and was still going through it. It was probably one of the best talks I had, sitting down. And it was that point actually coming away from it, I was going, and they actually said to me, they goes, you would actually be someone really good to talk about this, to raise awareness for this because of what you've done. And I was like, well, how good I felt talking to you. Hopefully I can do that to somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's the main reason probably for saying this, like coming out in this.
Yeah, I think that it's really important that what you said it, but we'll just reiterate it again, is that listening without trying to give feedback or trying to help, or just listening is helping. The fact that you can look and go, all right, they do care, because I know a lot of the guys that I've worked with, they think no one cares. Like even when I worked with kids, they'd say things like, I'm sad and no one cares. No one's trying to help me. But the people around them are trying, like their parents, their family are all trying, but they don't know what they're doing. They haven't got the experience, and so they're trying like really, really hard, really awkward. Like even anyone that's never been depressed or angry or anxious has had a bad day and someone said, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" And you say nothing, and then they ask again, "Oh, but what's right?" And then by the time they've asked you about 4 times, whatever, even if you had nothing wrong with you, you start to develop something, because that constant ask that is just triggers it in your head. So I think that's very important, that people should be willing to listen even if they don't have a clue. And then everyone can use common sense. Like, maybe you should go talk to a doctor. Maybe you should go talk to someone that's qualified to talk about this. Maybe you should go talk to someone like Gary that's been through it. That is 3 pieces of advice that are easy. You might say that to someone and they will say, "I'm not doing any of that. I'm not going to the doctor. I'm not doing that. I'm not talking to anyone." But every time they talk to you about it and you give that same advice works. So I think that is a good way of leading into your morning routine. You whenever you were going through all this and you were saying it took you a while to notice, was because you didn't have a routine. And I think that's important for mental health, is a routine in general. So if you had any advice that you would give that would be about starting a routine?
I would say my routine at the minute, it's getting up really early, it's doing it. I still wouldn't been able to do that routine way back.
Yeah.
My advice would be just pick one thing, one thing that you need to do. And that one thing, and it could be the hardest thing, is get up out of bed.
Yeah.
Once that alarm rings, just focus on that one thing. Now, you could, whenever you're up, you can build from there, and add another task, but just get up. And I know, I think we all struggle with it at times, and I was listening to one thing, and I've used it before. It was a lady, she's a public speaker and stuff, but she was saying she pretends like NASA in her room, and what she does, she's a rocket, and when the alarm goes off, she goes in her head, she goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And she says she explodes out of bed, in her mind. She's not like leaping out there and jumping into flames coming out of the bottom of her feet.
We're
But
back to sport again.
yeah, so I know. So, but she gets up. I think that's it, because, and to be honest, that could be the hardest thing, because I know it's so easy to press snooze. And like, I've lay in bed fully awake for hours, just looking at the ceiling. Literally looking at the ceiling and the mind going crazy, because I did not want to get up. I didn't want anything to happen. So thankfully I know there are people who are in worse cases as such of different levels of depression. I was never suicidal, but it was a constant battle every single day for a good 2 years. Like, I mean, constantly, and I hit it so often. That's the other thing too. I thought I hit it, but the people around you who know you best know that there's something up.
Yeah.
And they know by simple things about how you're feeling, and about, as you say, being late for everything, or if you're quiet, if you're constantly on your phone a lot more than you used to, because I nearly just picked up distractions all the time. Just picked up different things and tried to do stuff and dropped out, and it was constantly just on.
It's about the people around you being aware. Like, when you're talking about being on your phone, like, I've worked with clients and they're on their phone. Like, if I'm chatting with the parent or the friend or whoever, or if it's in a big room and they're on their phone and they're going through their phone, but there's nothing actually on it. They just don't want to be asked the question. So they're like, you can see it lights up whenever they start, and then it goes dark. And they haven't even registered that, because their head is just, the wee chattering monkeys are going 100 miles an hour. They haven't even worked out that their phone's locked itself now. They're just pretending to be, but you're so it's the same as you staring looking at the roof. Being aware of people just spacing out or doing weird things, if their sleeping patterns completely changed. Like, I think it's a massive tell for people that with anxiety or depression or anything like that. Their sleeping's never great. And then if they say things like their memory's bad, or they don't remember wee tasks, if you're asked to go to the shop, and then an hour later you're like, "Oh, did you go to the shop?" And they're, "Oh, geez, I didn't even remember," because they're not listening, not out of their own fault. We'll go back to when we talked about anxiety and stuff, but if there's a lot going on in your head, you're not paying attention. But then, like you said, a wee trigger, a wee word can, like that, the statement "should be grand," or like that's just even like just
you'll snap out of it. You know what I mean? Like, and you go on, and everybody will tell you, "Look, you'll get through this. You'll get through this." But when you're in that such a dark place, you see no light. You know, you see nothing. Now, I can say that I've come through a bit of it. You know, I'm still, I know it's still there. So my thing is, it's that injury, but it's dealing with it. It's like anything, it will take time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, you know, for some people it could take a while, for some people it take years, for some people it might never happen. And that's why, you know, some to say you'll snap out of it, because you never actually truly snap out of it.
Yeah.
It's always present, but it's how can you deal with it?
And you didn't just snap into depression. You didn't go from, like as you said, it slowly built. You started to notice you felt down, and then as time went on, you thought, geez, I felt like that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe. So when people tell you to snap out of it, you didn't just snap into it. So it's not a great statement to come out with. Again, that's just people trying to give an advice when they don't know what they're talking about, and they're afraid to. People are afraid to make it worse. They just try to say, "What? Snap out of it."
Yeah, I know. And the thing is too, like I felt I was talking then at the stage when I was getting a wee bit more comfortable. I was started to talk to good mates then and broaden it out around my circle of influence. So it's like more and more people that I knew, and it's amazing actually how, especially people, your friends, how supportive they want to be, even though sometimes they may say the wrong things. But I talk to some friends and I go, yeah, I've been going through the same thing, or I have had this, or I've gone through, or I've been living with somebody who's had this. And just to have that connection with that person makes you feel so much better, because I wasn't doing it for a cry for help or cry for attention, sorry. You know, I wasn't going out going, oh my God, I wasn't publicly saying, oh, I'm depressed, I'm this, but it would just building it closer to some of my friends, just to say it and then turn around and go, wow, you're going through that, or you've been through that, was huge. Like it was, and it's amazing.
I think a lot of people think that if they tell someone, again, that's one of the reasons why we did this, is there is a stigma attached to it, and I think that if they say, here, look, I'm depressed, people will be like, oh, catch yourself on. But it's like everything's changed now. It's affected everyone in some way, that they know a family member or a friend or themselves have been through something. So whenever you do go and you eventually say it and you say, look, I think I'm going through this, and you have that response of, well, I have run through it, or I know someone who has, it makes you, I'd imagine it makes you not feel as alone as you were, because you've just been told you're not. It's not like you come into someone that has no idea what depression is and goes, well, sure, what's that mean? Sure, just go play football if you're sad, you enjoy football, do that. Yeah. You're getting to talk to other people that have went through the same sort of thing as you. So is there anything else you want to add, or anything that you think would be?
Yeah, I think you will find as well too that kind of going through it, the stuff that you love, you can easily fall out of love with. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the examples even would have been football. I got to the stage where I hated it. You know, people, you know, well, first advice is, get out there and get active, but it may not work all the time. It might work for some people, but I was always very active. But I skipped the gym. My eating pattern was gone. Like, just binged, did everything wrong. My body image, looking in the mirror, I was like, I'm just obviously not as happy here now. And the thing is, I knew why it was happening, but I couldn't do nothing about it. Football was my life, you know, it was, and I just went through the season and I was just like, no. I hated it. I hated being there. I was playing so poor, and even when I did play then, even worse, it made me feel really bad. I had to go into training, and I didn't even interact that well then with my friends as well too, you know, because you weren't getting that whole togetherness sort of thing with it, like, but it's one of those things that it does affect a lot, but you will fall in love with stuff at times. That's what I find. As I said, that's what I find. But you'll find can fall easily back in love with. You know, once you find something to help you slowly come to terms. First of all, my biggest thing would be say accept it. Yeah. Accept the fact that, you know, talk to your GP. If you need, talk to your friends, and if you need them too, and our GP advise it, then talk to the counsellor or something. I'll recommend them. I went to the Tara Centre as well, just in Noma, and some of the ladies, they were really good. you really felt like you were sneaking into the place, and all the times at the start you're like kind of detective mode going in, and who's going to see me coming out, because you get that stigma too. You're on medication, you're a loony.
Yeah.
Where have you got a white jacket? Have you got a you're talking to a counselor? That's such an American thing.
Yeah.
But these people are trained. It's like you come, if you want to lose weight, you come to us. People say, "Oh, sure, it's easy to lose weight. Oh, sure, it's easy to snap out of something."
Yeah.
But there's so many trained professionals out there.
Yeah.
So I think definitely talk to somebody who knows what you're talking about, because what I found the benefit was that they can break it down. You break down, well, it's actually okay to feel like that.
Yeah.
That's okay. Or have you thought, they would never put, whereas family and friends would give you suggestions of what they think that you should do that will help, but majority of the time it might not.
Yeah.
Whereas they were letting you just explore how you were feeling, actually trying slowly for you to break that down.
Yeah.
And you were coming back with the answers,
Mm.
but it's just somebody to open up to. And the thing I liked about it too was it was somebody totally neutral.
Yeah.
That wasn't somebody that you knew. It wasn't somebody that maybe you couldn't be 100% open to them because you were still holding back. You're going, oh yeah, no, I'm feeling a wee bit down, and okay, I know I'm struggling to get out of bed in the morning, but in actual fact, you're going, I need help here.
Yeah.
I am really struggling.
Yeah.
Whereas somebody neutral, they're not judging you. This is what they do full time. So that would be my advice, is definitely, first of all, accept it first, and that could take weeks, months, whatever.
Yeah.
Do that. Talk to your GP, talk to friends, and then if your GP does recommend, go talk to somebody.
Talking to someone, like I've worked a lot with people. I think one of the things that like people in my work are good at is asking you the right questions for you to find the right answers. Whereas you could be sitting talking to a friend, like you said, and they'll tell you to do stuff and stuff. But if I'm asking you how you feel, and you say I feel good or I feel bad or I feel indifferent, then I can ask you, how does that physically feel? Do you feel it? Do you feel heavy hearted? Do you feel it in your head? Do you feel lightheaded, light feet? Do you feel heavy feet? Like, how do you feel whenever you just traipse about? So then you can start asking, God, I never really noticed that, but my feet are a bit heavy when I'm walking these days, and why is that? And it's probably because the head's down. So even just becoming more aware of that, even in your walking, if you're walking in a slumped manner, you're creating a neurological pattern to be lower. So going and talking to someone, even if your GP doesn't recommend it, like I think just going and talking to someone that can give you the chance to open up yourself and find out more about yourself is always going to be a good idea.
I think as well too, it can be expensive as well too, like if you do go private and stuff, and that's one thing. But there is, I know, like the Tara Centre is one local community group here, and there's community groups out there where we can talk to a professional and you can maybe get financial support with it.
Yeah.
I know that there's the whole thing too about there's so much waiting time and everything, but it's very hard for someone who is feeling down or depressed or anxious to actually constantly keep at that, because one knockback could say,
that
well,
could be the end of it. Yeah.
That, hey, I'm not doing that. No way. Whereas if you're in a better state of mind, I'm going to keep pursuing that.
Yeah.
And everything. So definitely that. And then, as you say, notice the triggers. Notice the small things going. If hopefully you work through it and you come out the other end and you're feeling better, then if you feel yourself going back, and you always talk about this, feel the triggers. Write down that stuff. How do you feel, or what made you feel? What did you do that day that made you feel this way? We simple things like that, and I think I'm not gonna lie. Like I might have 2 or 3 books up there that I started writing, and I just threw to the side.
Yeah.
It took me a long time before I'd say, like, I wrote what I was grateful for. 10 things that I was grateful for. Even when I'm feeling low, like it could be, I've got a roof over my head. I've clean clothes. I had a nice meal.
Yeah.
And I started doing that for a while. It didn't really work for me. It just might work for somebody. Didn't really work for me. Might have did without me even realizing. But then the routine I've got now at the minute, it does help me, because there's days where I do get very down. I do feel myself getting back in that, and I feel writing it down just gets it on paper, and just get some thoughts out of your head onto somewhere. It's like that kind of release.
It's you when you're writing them down, you're constantly taking ownership as well, which you were saying at the start, like admitting it. So whenever you're going, right, I need to write this, and then again you're taking ownership straight away instead of, I'll leave it for a couple of days and see how we get on. Do you want to round it off then to make it link back to the whole point of our podcast as being a coach? Everyone can coach. So I think we've touched on it, but just to reiterate is that like everyone can help anyone. If you don't have a clue, then do you have the basic advice? Go to a GP, go to someone that knows what they're doing, like just basic advice. And let people know that you're there, not just in a Facebook post that you've copied and pasted from 30 other people in your thing, like an actual post that I don't get when people copy and paste things. Why don't they just write?
Right, I don't know.
Write a post that shows that they are making that effort and they're more personal about it. But just letting people know that you're actually
definitely.
there for it.
And I think, if a bit similar like me, and it's scary probably in a way to come out with this, to talk about this as well for a while. But going back to that thing, like I've done a talk like this before with a group, and someone after texts me and goes, I'm feeling really bad here. Can I, blah, blah. And we came around and we talked, and, and there was it was somebody I knew, and we still had that connection, and we actually made us even stronger, but it's this is why I'm doing this. This is why I want to do this. And I think if you have gone through something before and you feel better for it now, and you're in a position where you think you can talk, please do it, because it's not a cry for attention, or it's not a, oh, look at me, poor me, this is what I went through. I don't want that. If people want to think that, I actually don't care.
Yeah.
It's the people that turn around. If 20 people turn around and go like, what a dick, he's just saying this because he wants people to do X, Y, and Z. But if one person goes, hey, I'm feeling really bad, and I like what you hear and I can relate to it, then those 20 people mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
It's that one person, and that's what our podcast's all about, is trying to inspire people that anybody can be a coach. So if you have went through that, do it. If you are a coach, a parent, if you're working in a school, if you have a team, try and be more, I suppose, mindful of all that stuff about, is this person turning up late all the time? Are they turning up a wee bit more scruffy? Is their performance gone from like way up to way down, be that in their schoolwork, be that on the pitch? Just that simple thing. Hey, look, are you okay? And if they say, I'm fine, just say, no problem. Look, just that, I'm here for you anytime. I know I'm your coach, and I may be hard on you at times, whatever, but I think that's important too, that you set that environment, that you're open.
That you're approachable.
You are approachable. You have to set that environment, and that's obviously a skill that you want to have anyway, because that's just not talking about this issue, but that could be any issue at all.
Even as a parent, you want to be approachable. Again, working with different kids in different environments, and saying, have you spoke to your parents? And they just laugh.
Well, I think they're probably the first two people I spoke to, and I'm very fortunate. I have a great relationship with both my parents, and especially even my dad. Like we would get on really well and be very open, and I've talked to him a lot about stuff, which is good. And even then, my cousin and sisters and different people as well too that have been there. That I'm very, very lucky that way.
Yeah.
But that's because that environment set up for there. Everything has its pros and cons, but that was definitely a pro for that. So it was. But yeah, I think rounding up, because I know we're kind of going over time, but times I think somebody says just talk for as much as you need to talk, and I think we've covered a good bit.
I think if anyone again has any questions or wants us to touch on any subjects, like feel free to send us a message. If Gary's story has helped you or affected you in any way, then either reach out to us and we can point you in a direction, or reach out to someone else, like whatever. Just reach out, ask somebody, talk to someone, and hopefully you'll join us again on our next podcast.
Yeah, again, that too, and again, don't share this too with whoever. And even if you put it out in your own social media, by the way, this is not a plug. Like
this is a plug.
We'll
share us.
I know we'll do other things to try and share. To be honest, we do want people to share, because we're not on this, like, yes, we're our own businessmen and stuff, but we're on this to kind of share these stories, to share these habits, and if people then buy our services or do what, that's brilliant. But the main focus, or the main mission of our podcast is to try and inspire
I was
as
hoping
many
you were just
people.
going to come up with a statement.
I know.
Our mission statement.
So, and if this is your first time listening to this one, we're maybe not always that serious. So we're not. You can maybe listen to a few other ones and kind of figure out what we do. But we always seem to do this now too. We do a long-winded end.
This is your fault. We ran.
I know it's my fault, but
I thought, well, after I said my bit, you were just going to say it Thursday.
I know.
6 o'clock.
I know. But it gets that point out again that please share this, please get it out to people.
Yeah.
And we do hope
we want everyone to listen to it, and we want to be the biggest podcast ever to exist in the world. But the point is still is valid that we want to help people. As cheesy as it is, like, our goal is to help people. And I would point people in the direction, like, in my work, like, I could sit here and say everyone should come to me because I work with this. But maybe I'm just not a right fit for people. So go anywhere, talk to anyone. There's enough talks. There's talks all over the country. You can go to, there's people everywhere. Just go and do something. But listen to our podcast.
Yeah, that's
Tell them about our podcast when you're there.
Yeah, so if anybody is listening the first time, we have to remember to wear on camera as well.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
We post our podcast at 6 o'clock every Thursday. You can get us.
Guy forgets.
I know. No, we're very good at that. So you can get us on iTunes, and we set links to on our social media, and just like our Facebook page.
YouTube, we're on YouTube now as well.
YouTube, that's right. We're on YouTube, so you can put us on your smart TV or put us on your phone, or if you want to watch as well what we do.
If you want to be a guest, send us a message. Let us know. Whatever. We're up for anything. Pretty much talk wise.
Good.
Talk.
So.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks. And thanks to Liam too, sitting listening and sharing my story. And for everybody else too, hopefully you took something from it. So thank you very much. Bye from me.
And
bye from you again.
Good luck.
Good luck. Bye.